Hello, light workers, you beautiful people. How are you today? Welcome to Monday. Today, I'm going to be talking about surfing, and I'm going to be talking about butterflies and seeds. There we are. Yeah, that's exciting, isn't it? So I'll see you on the other side. So, first things, lately I'm aware that I haven't been to the dentist for the last 18 months. And the last 6 months, the 6 months before the last 12 months, I hadn't been to the dentist because I didn't need to. And then during this last 12 months, just over the last month, I'm thinking, I think I need to go to the dentist. But I don't want to go. And I'll tell you for why. I don't want to go anywhere. Basically, that's the bottom line. I don't really want to go anywhere at the moment. Thank you very much. I mean, it's, why go out into the world of the sleeping? And because of the mask issue, and also because I don't know if you've seen, the internet is now filled with it, okay? The masks, those blue ones, and the white ones, the ones that look like ducks. People are walking around, but they look like ducks. We've got a nation of walking ducks. They've got these big pointy masks. I mean, the most ridiculous things in the world. They're all contaminated. And it looks like I was listening to a very interesting interview with a doctor who said, I've seen this. I had to investigate it. I'm the only one who's speaking out about it. Amongst the medical world, somebody has to speak out about it. But basically, she bought a very high-powered microscope and got lots and lots of different brands of masks. Her husband is a dentist, and he got them from his work. 5 different brands. Every brand, including the duckbill platypus brand, was contaminated with what? With black, squirmy, squiggly worms. Now, lots of people are calling them Morgellons or perhaps, something that's a bit genetically modified, a bit weird and everything. This doctor actually thinks that they're flatworms. Whatever they are, they move sometimes when the heat's on them, and sometimes they just move anyway, and they're squiggling about. Now, I got a mask from when I was over at my in-laws. I got one of the masks, and I got just my mobile and used the Zoom on my mobile, and they were filled with the black things. They were filled with them. Okay, so I read just the other day that if you go to the dentist, you've got to wear one of those blue ones. No, I don't. I've got my mask with all the holes in, and I'm thinking I don't want anything on my face that might be contaminated with God knows what. Same as I don't want anything rammed up my nose or rammed down my throat that's clearly going to be leaving fibers that are going to do God knows what. So it's kind of like one of those, no thank you, I'll hang on. I'll just chew carefully. So I was talking in meditation, and I was saying, I might have to go to the dentist. I don't want to. And they said, you must do everything that you need to do to keep yourself healthy and well, because of, we all have a job to do now. It's very important, the job that we've got to do, which is to help one another, to help unite the people who are awake, and to become one, and to create our new future. And so obviously, if you're not well, you're not going to be able to do that very well. So they said, you've got to keep yourself well. But then they showed me this. They showed me some fantastic metaphors, and it's always like this image. Basically, they showed me on a surfboard, riding on a wave, and they said, ride the wave of events. Don't be drowned by them. Okay, and they're like this. They're very succinct sometimes, and it catches me on the hop sometimes, and they say these little words, and I just think, oh, okay, Okay, I understand. So it's very simplistic. Look, we're going to have to go with this flow. At the moment, we can't. Pushing against it will not help. We're going to have to actually go with the flow and utilize it when we have to. Hence the fact of saying, ride on top of the wave. Don't be underneath it getting drowned and letting the wave, make you feel bad and so you can't breathe. Interesting, the breath thing. So, okay, I thought, okay, right, well, I'll have to do that then. Just roll with it a little bit, So that brings me to the next point. When I talk with the emissaries, at the beginning, I was very, very in awe. I was in awe. My God, beings from elsewhere are wanting to talk to me and communicate, and oh my goodness, and I was nervous and embarrassed and all of that. But as time goes on, they're just friends. They're just friends that give me some fantastic advice. Sometimes they give me a hard time, and sometimes I give them a hard time. Just depends on the circumstance, and all of that's fine. They're fine with that. They're fine with that. And so the other day I wasn't in a particularly great place. I was a bit sort of vexed and frustrated and everything. So I said to them, just because whenever I ask about time frame, they won't go into time frame. They can't go into time frame. They say because time, they're not in a dimension that has time anyway. But even so, there are so many variables that they will never enter into details about time. They won't enter into details about the details of what's happening. Right? If I ask them opinions of is this person a good person or a bad person or whatever, they won't get into it. And they say that's not their job. Their job is to give a message of great hope about the Great Awakening. And fair enough. And I'm sure there are other people who channel other beings who do that. But the emissaries don't. And they won't give time frames either. They say, no, it's all about vibration. It's about how the vibration is moving forward, not time. Time is of no importance to them. But that gets a bit frustrating sometimes because I want to know when. I want to know when. When is this craziness going to end? When? So I sat down and I said, come on, when is this going to end? Okay, knowing fine well that they weren't going to tell me that. But when's this going to end? And I said, when is the truth going to come out? And they, because I was giving them a hard time, they give me a hard time. And they said, you're asking the wrong question. When is the truth going to come out? It's the wrong question. The truth is already out. Like the X-Files, the truth is out there. The truth's already out, they said. The truth's already out. The correct question, Gordon, they said, is when are people going to see the truth? That's the correct question. When are people going to see the truth that's all around them? Remember, they're blind. They've been blinded. Okay? There's never anybody more blind than the person who doesn't want to see. Okay, so what they said was this, which I'm sure they've said a number of times, but it's worth repeating so that we can get a handle on it. They said that people will see the truth when the vibration of the planet, the frequency, has raised so much that automatically they are taken across the threshold. Right? The threshold, the dividing line between, let's say, being asleep and being awake. The threshold, the dividing line between everything's absolutely fine to hang on, there's something really wrong with this picture. And it's a perception. Remember, it's all about perception. At the moment, they are being kept in a heavy vibration, which is blinding them. But what the emissaries were saying was, they will have no choice. There will not be a choice. They will be taken across the threshold and they will begin to see. When that happens, and that's all depending, it's linked inextricably with the vibration of the planet. And I know I don't know if you've been keeping up with the Schumann resonance, but it's been going absolutely crazy. And every time, and we've got big bursts coming from the sun, every time that happens, that's like a step change in the vibration or frequency of the Earth. So they then went on to say this, and I think this is the key. They're always suggesting or advising patience. Okay? And goodness knows we need it. We need it these days. Man, patience is what we need. And they give me two similes. Okay? And they said the first one, they said this. And they reminded me of a story, basically. And they said, there was once a man who planted some seeds. He planted the seeds and he watered them. And then he waited. And he waited 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and no seeds were appearing. So he watered them again, and he started getting worried that maybe they were never going to grow, worried that something had gone wrong, maybe he'd done something wrong, maybe he got the timing wrong or whatever. And he started to get really, really stressed out about it. And what about my seeds? I want my seeds, and maybe if I've done it wrongly, I'll have to do it again. I should do it again. Maybe I should. So one day he dug down in the soil. He started to dig, and he lifted all of the seeds up. And of course they had started to grow. But in the act of digging them up and looking at them, he'd finished the cycle. They died. All the seeds died. They didn't grow anymore. And the lesson for that is that you must have patience, because the seeds are not growing at your pace. The seeds are growing at their pace. The seeds will come up as long as they've been watered and as long as they've been planted. That's it. Nature does the rest. The universe controls the rest. So digging them up, constantly mithering them, constantly looking, will actually hamper the growth. So our job, and it isn't just our job, it's a job of many, is the sowing of the seed. That's it. And then we let nature do its job. Okay, and that's what's happening. Remember the example of the chrysalis, which I'm going to come to. The chrysalis, we said, we see a chrysalis and it never changes, but on the inside there's metamorphosis happening. And this is what's happening in the world. In the world, there are more and more people who are starting to say there's something wrong. If you just look around the world, you see, for any reason, people are taken to the streets now. There's just people all over the place taken to the streets, whatever. And you know, this is, it's kind of it gives you the feel for where humankind is. They know that there's something wrong, and so they'll get angry about a particular subject, even though that's not really why they're angry. They're just angry. And so that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this kind of heating up of the pan. The pan's heating up. Soon it's going to be boiling. But that's not our job. We put the pan on the heat. Remember the expression, a watched kettle never boils. We put the kettle on and we walk away and let the kettle boil. So the next simile metaphor that they give me was this, it took me back to the chrysalis and reminded me of another story of a man who had been watching a chrysalis for a long time. He had it there and he was so excited about seeing the butterfly emerge. And the butterfly finally opened the chrysalis, it cracked, and out it emerged. But of course its wings were all folded up because it's been inside the chrysalis. So the man, wanting to help it to be able to realize its beauty and to be able to fly, he started to blow warm air across the wings of the butterfly, because he had the idea that if he warmed it up, the wings would dry and they would open and the butterfly would be able to fly. But what happened was the act of blowing across the wings dried the wings before they were able to open properly and fully. And so the butterfly never flew. It just stayed there, crippled and slightly developed, but not fully developed. And the lesson that he learned was, let nature do what nature does. You can't speed it up. It's not your job. It's not our job to speed up the awakening. It's not our job. We had the luck, we had the help, the divine inspiration to wake up when we woke up. Some people have woken up 3 months ago, some people a year ago, some people 3 years ago, some people 30 years ago. Some people have been awake since they've been born. That is part of our plan. But we can't rush other people into waking up. We have to trust the process. We have to trust nature, the universe. And by digging up the seeds, by blowing across the wings, we are trying to manipulate something that's a natural process. It's a natural one. And by us interfering, it makes it unnatural and therefore untenable and therefore damaging to the people. Okay? And I thought that was a beautiful message. And it's a message that I need to hear just as everybody needs to hear it. We need to remember it's not our job to wake people up. And I've been saying this for a long time without even knowing why I was saying it. I was saying it because I was told that. They said it's not your job to wake people up. You know? It's the if it's not your job to wake people up, why are you making these videos? Why is the bird singing in the tree? It sings because it's got a song to sing. I've got things to say. But it's that remembering that what we are saying is not to wake people up. What we are saying is to keep ourselves strong, to keep ourselves in line, to create, to manifest. All of the words are creation. In the beginning was the word. Words are creation. Sound and vibration is creation. And this is why we talk. This is why the bird sings its song. Yeah? Like the prophet, I think I've told this story, the prophet that went to the village because God told him that he had to tell the people to repent, and he was saying, repent, repent, repent. And of course nobody took any notice because nobody ever takes any notice of the prophets. Have you noticed that? Prophets go, listen to God, listen to God. They go, no, we're not. And then, yeah, okay, bit of a moral. I think it's a bit of a metaphor, but there you are. So nobody took any notice of the prophet, and he'd been there doing that for ages. And finally somebody strolled up to him and said, listen, why nobody pays any attention to what you're saying? Why are you still here preaching? Why are you still here prophetizing or whatever? And the prophet said, well, at the beginning I used to preach hoping that I could change other people. And he said, now I preach so that they won't change me. And that's where we are. That's why we have to speak our truth. That's why we have to speak. That's why we have to unify and get together and talk about it, and talk about what we want, and talk about where we're going and how wonderful it's going to be, and how we're looking forward to this all changing. That's what creation's all about. That's how we're going to bring it about. Okay? We're not talking because anybody who's asleep is going to listen. They can't hear us. They have to firstly awake, and then they'll start to hear us, and then they'll come. And as I said, for those who like revenge, the justice in all of this, the karmic justice, is in the fact that when they do wake up, and when they then look at what they did, look at the way that they treat people, look at the way that they laughed at people, look at the way that they smirked and made jokes and were angry at people who were trying desperately to give them a message that they couldn't hear. That is when they have to look in on themselves and realize they're in the fact that they're not right. It's that, when you wake up, you know that, and this is not for everybody, but when you wake up, there is a certain death of the ego. The ego wants us to be right. It's the most important thing, and it's always, it wants you to be right at the cost of other people being wrong. The ego has nothing to do with win-win. The ego is win-lose. I'm right, you're wrong. Yeah? And when people wake up and they have to then do some reflection, some self-reflection on their life, on what they have done, and I've been through this loads of times, but this kind of actually looking at yourself and saying, how have I got here, and what damage have I done to people on the way? That is where true justice takes place. Justice doesn't happen when they're asleep, because they don't even know it. They're not in touch with anything. But when they get in touch with it, that's actually when they're going to need us. When they're going to need us, they're going to need to hear us say, it's okay. We've all been there. It's okay. We've all done what you've done at some point. Which is true, isn't it? We've all laughed at things that then we find out are true, and then we're embarrassed that we laughed at them. And so, let them go through their path. Let them be pushed across the threshold. Keep speaking your truth. Keep singing your song because it's your song. And keep manifesting the future that you want, that we want. This collective manifestation. It's so powerful, and there are so many of us now. Keep away from the negative stuff. Keep away from the fear porn. Keep away from all of those things that trust me, the baddies are injecting into our world to keep our vibration down as well. So keep away from that. Find good news. Get excited about the future. Find out all of the brilliant things that people are doing all over the world to bring this to an end, to usher in the new age, the golden age. Focus on that, and that will keep you up. And not only will it keep you up in terms of spirit, but it will bring everything faster. I don't know if you remember the video I did about being the oil in the wheels. The more that we think in a positive way, the more that we focus on what we want, the more that we get excited about it. We are just squirting WD-40, if you have that, oil, into the cogs, and it's just going to go faster and faster. But the more fear that we inject into it, the more we're going to put stuff into the cogs that are going to jam the cogs, so we're going to slow it down. The emissaries have told me that there is no stopping this. This is moving. It moves every day. Every day that I meditate with them, they give me a new download to keep me at the front end of the movement of energy. That's what they say. To keep you up, topped up. Every day. They have never once in a year have they said, oh, we've got to take you back down because the vibration has decreased. Never. The vibration has only ever increased. And all they say is that it could go faster if we wanted to. That's it. There is no turning back. There is no reverse. We are going to where we're going, and it's going to be beautiful. But if we want to, we can get there faster. It's all down to us. Okay, I'll leave that with you. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.